Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I think in my opinion this scarf is the most crocheted scarf in the world. So if you live in a cold climate, I think this one it's perfect for you guys. Even the beginners, you can do this. One row repeat goes really fast. The stitch is reversible, front and back is the same. You can do so many things with this. You can do a hat, you can do a scarf, you can do a blanket, a vest, so many things. Well, for a vest I would recommend use a very thin yarn, because working with puffs it's gonna get the work quite bulky. Yeah, but for those of you that you live in well, North Dakota, Idaho, Alaska, Wisconsin, it's cold there, or even Michigan, so you can do this this scarf. Yeah, for beginners is the perfect project, and you can make gifts with this scarf or this stitch. Okay, I'm gonna use 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. Now you're gonna use the crochet hook that the yarn recommends. For those of you that, for example, your tension when you work with puffs, the tension is okay. If you work too tight and you cannot pull the crochet hook through the loops, then let's say your yarn recommends 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, maybe you should use 4.5. So you go with half number bigger than the yarn recommends in case you work tight. Yeah, and you cannot pull. It's really stressful, but this stitch is quite nice for a beginner. So I'm gonna use 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. The stitch works with even numbers, so I'm gonna chain, let's say 12 chains. So you're gonna do the knot the way you feel comfortable. The way I do it, I just put the yarn around the hook, and then I give it a twist, and then I pull the yarn through the loop and give it a tug. You have a knot. So now we're gonna chain let's say 12. Okay, so we have 12. Keep it even numbers, depends on your project, a blanket or a hat, just with even numbers. Yeah. Now for a scarf, we're gonna work on the back of the chain, so you're gonna see this these bumps. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna skip the first chain. Let me put the camera a little bit higher. Okay, we're gonna skip the first chain and into the second chain from the hook, flip the chain, and we're gonna work through the bump. So the bump has only one strain of yarn. Yeah? Pull up a loop, you have 2 loops, pull the yarn through these 2 loops. So we're gonna do single crochet in each chain. So we're gonna move to the next chain and we're gonna do single crochet, next chain, single crochet through the bump, and you're gonna have the stitches on the bottom perfect. In case some of you want to chain, you want to put, for example, tassels or fringes, so that's gonna be quite easy. You'll know exactly how many stitches you're gonna skip and then attach the tassel. But for example, if you live in a climate that is not so cold, the winters are quite mild, then use a thinner yarn, and it's gonna be just beautiful, even with a thick yarn. So the last chain, we're gonna do a single crochet. With this stitch for a scarf, you're gonna need like 300 grams of yarn. Yeah, because puffs take a lot of yarn. So now we're gonna chain 1, turn your work, and now into the first stitch we're gonna do a puff. So you go through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over the hook, go back again into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over the hook, go back again into the same stitch and pull up a loop. So you're gonna have like 2, 4, let's see, 2, 4, 6 loops. Yeah, so now pull the yarn through all these 6 loops, chain 1, we're gonna skip the next stitch, and into the next stitch we're gonna repeat, go through the stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over the hook, go back again into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over the hook, go back again into the same stitch, pull up a loop. So you should have 6 loops. Pull the yarn through all these 6 loops, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the next you're gonna repeat. Pull the yarn through all these loops, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the next you're gonna do the same. Once, yarn over the hook, you go for the second time, yarn over the hook, go for the third time. 6 loops on the hook, pull the yarn through all these 6 loops, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the next we're gonna repeat. Once, twice, and the third time. Pull the yarn through all the loops, chain 1. So we have at the end we have 2 stitches left, so we're going to skip the next stitch and into the next, which is the last one. We're going to do the same. We're going to do a puff. So once, twice, and the third time. Pull the yarn through all the loops, chain 1, turn your work. And now from this moment forward, this will be the row that you're gonna do until you finish your scarf, or whatever you choose to do with this. So you have the puff and you have a space here, the stitch. So you're gonna go into this space, yeah? So skip this puff. So you go there. So once, yarn over the hook, second time, yarn over the hook, and the third time. Pull the yarn through all the loops, chain 1. Skip this puff and you have the stitch right here. So you're gonna go into that space, see, and you're gonna do a puff. Pull the yarn through all the loops, chain 1, skip the puff. So what you do, you're skipping the chain and the puff, and you're gonna go into the stitch. So you're gonna do a puff. 3 times you're gonna go. If you think it's too much, the puffs are too big, go only twice. So skip the puff, the chain and the puff, and go into that space and do a puff. Chain 1, skip the puff and go into that space and do a puff. 1 row repeat. You're gonna finish. Even as a beginner, you're gonna finish fast. So at the end we have the chain, the puff, and the stitch where we close the puff. So we're gonna go into the last stitch there, yeah? And you're gonna do a puff. And the third time, 6 loops on the hook, pull the yarn through all 6 loops, chain 1. And now, for example, you want to finish and you want to close your work. So the last row that you're gonna do with the puffs, when you chain loose, yeah? So you go, you have the puff here and you have this space. So you're gonna do once, twice, and the third time. Pull the yarn through all the loops, and when you chain now the one, leave it a little bit loose, yeah? So you move to the stitch once, twice, and the third time. Pull the yarn through all the loops, chain 1, and leave it a little bit, this chain a little bit loose, that you're not going to struggle when you have to close the work. So you move to the space, well, it's the stitch, chain 1. So you skip the chain and the puff, and you have the stitch that we close the puff, yeah? So once, twice, and the third time. Leave this a little bit loose, skip the puff, and you have that stitch right there. Chain 1, and now at the end you have the last stitch, yeah? So you're gonna go in there and you're gonna do a puff, chain 1, turn your work, and now because we started with 1 row of single crochet at the bottom, we're gonna finish with a 1 row of single crochet in each chain and in each stitch, yeah? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to the first stitch here, and we're gonna do a single crochet. Now you have the chain right here. That's why I said leave it a little bit loose when you chain, and you don't struggle to get in, yeah, for those of you that are beginners or you work tight. Next is the stitch, and we're gonna do single crochet in each stitch and in each chain. And after you finish this, you close the project. Yeah, this is a very nice for a throw, for a afghan, for a hat, for a vest, but like I said, with a vest with a thinner yarn. So at the end here we have the last stitch right there, and we're gonna do a single crochet. You're gonna chain one, pull up a loop, then you're gonna take the scissors and you're gonna cut the yarn, and you're gonna make a knot. And look at this, this is like braided puffs. Quite nice. So for this, because we work with puffs, it's gonna be let's see, it's gonna be quite yarn eaten, yeah. So it's gonna take a lot of yarn. So make sure that you have at least 300 grams in case you want to put tassels, yeah. But I think this one is the best when, for example, you're a beginner or you're late with the presents. I think to do a scarf with this stitch goes really fast. For those of you that are, you know, are advanced, I think in maybe 2 or 3 hours at the most, if you don't stop the work, you can finish this scarf, yeah, in no time. And the sides are quite nice, yeah. Blanket, scarves, even if you have, for example, but with this I will say use a softer yarn, yeah, because this is acrylic, might be a little bit sturdy, rigid. If you want that for a rug, for example, you can make a rug with this stitch and use a very rigid, hard yarn, yeah. So I hope many of you enjoy this stitch and you will give it a try. Well, Christmas it's approaching, so you can give presents with this stitch. A hat, if you are to do in rounds, I don't think you'll have this. All you have to do, it's for a hat, you're gonna have to make the work like a big piece, and then put it the ends together, sew it, because if you are to work in circle, these puffs will not be in zigzag, they will be stuck on top of each other, they will go diagonally, yeah. So just so you know, if some of you try to do this for a hat or even for an infinity scarf, yeah, it's not gonna look like this. They're gonna go diagonally, the puffs. Well, I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Give it a try. Thank you for watching.